It is a Ferrari, but not like the ones you dreamed of as a kid. No mid-engine, no two-seat cockpit, and no sleek, low-slung design. Instead, it's a four-seater in the form of a hatchback, or what's called properly a shooting brake. Four-wheel drive V12 Grand Tourer, a Ferrari for the real world. And for years, many thought it was a mistake, but was it?
This is the Ferrari FF, a V12 monster that once had a price tag north of $300,000 for the base model, and this one in particular equipped to over $400,000 when it was new. Yet today you can find one of these for around 25% of its original sticker price. Crazy. And the Ferrari FF is the most controversial Ferrari ever made. Why? We're going to find out in this video, as well as the cool and interesting story behind this car. And by the end of this video, you'll find out why the Ferrari FF is the best bargain car in the exotic car world. And if you never owned the V12 Ferrari before, this one should be your very first one. Let's go.
For decades, Ferrari has been known for making two things: beautiful, high-revving sports cars and sleek, elegant grand tours. But in 2011, they did something no one expected. They built this, a four-seater, four-wheel drive, V12 powered hatchback. It was a radical shift, a Ferrari that wasn't just a weekend toy, but a daily driver. A Ferrari that could take you across the mountain pass in a snowstorm. A Ferrari with actual trunk space. This wasn't just a new model, it was an entirely new philosophy for Ferrari brand and heritage in general.
Under the hood is 6.3-liter V12, making 650 horsepower. This was the most powerful engine at a time in the Ferrari world. 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds. And the sound! But unlike anything before this car, all four wheels could put the power down. This is a true four-wheel drive car. It is not all-wheel drive like so many people think it is, because if they actually had to do the all-wheel drive system in this car, that means they would put extra weight, unnecessary weight, which would take up the space in between the seats here. But instead of putting the differential and transfer case and taking up the space and adding weight, Ferrari decided to put another transmission. So there's two transmissions, and they connected that transmission to the front of the engine that is connected to the front of the crankshaft that powers the front wheels. And hence we have the two transmission. So the added transmission only has 2 speeds. That is matching the 7-speed transmission in the back. So realistically, the four-wheel drive system only works at lower speeds. Anything 5th gear and beyond, you're really in a rear-wheel drive like a true Ferrari, which is not bad at all. While the performance is pure Ferrari, a design, that's where the controversy began.
Ferrari had never made anything like this before. The long, sloping roof, the shooting brake silhouette, the squared-off rear. Some called it a masterpiece, a blend of practicality and aggression. Others, well, they said it looked like a bloated station wagon that didn't fit the brand's DNA. The shooting brake shape was polarizing. It didn't scream supercar like the 458, for instance, but functionally, it made sense.
Ferrari fans and car enthusiasts in general were confused. Was this a real Ferrari? Why Ferrari, a brand synonymous with racing and performance, would create a family-friendly Grand Tourer? But Ferrari had a plan, a really bold one. See, throughout Ferrari's history, they created front-engine V12 super powerful Grand Tourer cars, but those cars never became really loved and iconic, even though they're still very beautiful and exceptionally cool. Think of, again, 456 GT or 612. Then, for the first time, Ferrari decided to shake things up a bit, and they created this wonderful four-wheel drive, weird, hot hatchback with so much cargo space in the back. But most importantly, the real 4 seats, which never ever happened before in Ferrari's history. And the Ferrari FF, which the FF actually stands for Ferrari 4, believe it or not. How creative of Ferrari. But I'm 6'3", and I can pretty easily and comfortably sit behind the Ferrari, a 2-door, still 2-door, but very practical in many ways, 4-wheel drive
hatchback, the ultimate rich dad car, isn't it? And if you still doubt that this is a real Ferrari or not, all you have to do is just get in and look around, spend some time inside a car, because everything you touch is very high quality, and the carbon fiber for this specific car, the build sheet is absolutely crazy insane. The only option that this car doesn't have, believe it or not, is the screens in the back for kids. They can literally watch. There's a DVD option where kids in the back, they have the screens attached to the back of the front seat so that they can enjoy whatever movie or cartoon they're watching. But besides that, the interior of this car is real Ferrari. You have the real Ferrari steering wheel, you have the yellow tachometer in front of you, again with the Ferrari horse, and everything looks like a Ferrari, and it is. And while I have this cool key with the horse, let's try and start it and see if it sounds like a real Ferrari. Ugh, a little annoying. Ooh! Isn't it a real Ferrari? Check this out. Oh, yes! Here's one thing I don't like about it. This screen, it's straight up from the 2011 Jeep Grand Cherokee or whatever Chrysler product at the time. Unfortunately, Ferrari had to borrow the infotainment system because it would take so much money. And it's not the only Ferrari that has this infotainment system, because every Ferrari at a time used this infotainment system just because it takes a lot of money to develop their own. So they had a collaboration with the Fiat and Chrysler, and they borrowed this straight up from the cheapest Chrysler, even Maserati product at a time. And that's what you have in this Ferrari, and that's fine. That's the only downside, but everything else looks so good, feels so good. The horse in front of you, and then there's this little screen that was another option where, as the passenger inside this Ferrari, you can track several metrics, really. Look at that. Travel distance, maximum speed even, and then some metrics when you're going on the racetrack in the sport mode, and the RPMs. How cool is that? On the inside, as you saw, this is a real Ferrari, despite what some critics might say against it. But now, let's talk depreciation. As with most luxury cars, depreciation usually hits hard, but with this car, it hit really hard. The original base price for this car, as I mentioned earlier, was around $305,000. With this specific car, it was equipped to over $408,000. And today, it's probably worth around $110,000. That's literally 25% of its original sticker price. But generally speaking, you can find a Ferrari FF today for under $90,000. That's less than the BMW M3, the brand new BMW M3, for a V12 Ferrari monster. So why did Ferrari FF drop so much in value and became the most depreciated Ferrari today? Well, there's actually two words to explain that: maintenance costs. After all, it is a V12 Ferrari, and at the time with a brand new four-wheel drive system with two transmissions, as I mentioned earlier, and that means unexpected or maybe even expected massive repair bills. Here's the thing about depreciation and why I love it so much. It actually works both ways. Yes, if you're the original owner and you paid full price for the FF, you're probably in pain. But the FF today is one of the best bargains in the exotic car world. And here's 3 reasons why you should consider if you're trying to get into the exotic world, and specifically Ferrari world, despite the fact that it might be a little too much to maintain it. After all, this is a real V12 Ferrari with a Pininfarina design.
Ferrari, like many other automakers, whether we want it or not, is moving towards hybridization. And the successor of the FF, the GTC4 Lusso, was the last NA V12 Ferrari with four-wheel drive. And that means the FF is officially a dying breed.
The second reason is the true usability. This is the Ferrari you don't have to baby. Maybe in practical ways, but in mechanical ways you still should. This car has real 4 seats, has real cargo space that can practically fit in it, and you can take this car off-road, on winter roads, a Ferrari you can truly use every single day. And the third reason, just bear with me, it is going to be worth it. You're already probably realizing what I'm going to talk about. The third reason, which is definitely unbeatable, is the experience, the performance, the sound. New Ferraris, mostly turbocharged, and they hybridized, thing. That's how it's pronounced. And they may be faster, but they will never sound like this.
This V12 is a timeless masterpiece and dying breed at the same time. My God. And the driving experience in general, you are in the real Ferrari. It is so grounded, the steering is so precise, the sound is just overcoming every possible flaw, which I can't really find anything as I'm driving here. And everything looks so good. Everything feels so good when you touch it. This steering wheel is absolutely wonderful. Wow. Oh! Wow, it shifts, it downshifts so good. Oh my God, upshifts wonderfully. Despite the fact that this is older dual clutch compared to the F1 transmission that was basically primarily used in older Ferraris before the FF, this does wonderfully. And even sitting in the traffic, honestly, people look around, obviously noticing the red Ferrari. It sounds great even at the lower RPM, but revs up all the way to 82, 83 RPM, the red line. My God. This is incredible. And in the comfort mode, which I am right now, it feels very comfortable. I can totally daily drive this car, no problem at all. You're not getting beat up. And then you look back, folded seats. You can, with folded seats, you can definitely fit a snowboard or two for sure, and probably a couple or maybe even 3 golf club sets. It's this is something. One thing is somewhat annoying is that infotainment in front of you, but to be honest, it's pretty good for its time. It's not bad. And then there's a backup camera in front of you, and then that red circular tachometer in front of you with the horse. It's wonderful. Okay, I'm gonna shift to the sport mode. Hold on. Oh my God! Whoa! This is a real Ferrari! My God! This is why you're okay to pay a $30,000 repair bill when it's needed. Absolutely. Worth it? Absolutely magnificent. You gotta listen to this one more time. Whoa! Wow! 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 I am speechless. Any words would speak unspeakably lame to describe how wonderfully this V12 performs and sounds. Wow, orgasmic. Ferrari FF, when it was launched, it was misunderstood. Radical design, 4 seats, cargo space, and blah, 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 blah. Car experts, even the highly respected ones, sometimes could be annoying. But today, the FF is the hidden gem. It's the V12 Ferrari with everything that we love about Ferrari. So the real question is, are you bold enough to see the genius in Ferrari's biggest risk? And if you want to find out what other V12 bargain exotic that you can buy that costs less than the new Toyota Camry, you should watch this video here.